Hello everyone, thank you for clicking on this video. This is Tanisha with Stitched by Tanisha. What you're viewing right now is the picture that I used as the thumbnail for my first video that I uploaded to YouTube, and I wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone that watched my video, that liked and subscribed and shared. I really appreciate it. I was a little nervous, but I was very happy to see the views that I had and that some folks had voted on what pattern I should sew up. So again, I just wanted to make sure to let you know that I greatly appreciate you devoting some of your time to my content. Thank you so much. So during that first video, I introduced myself and gave a little bit of information as to what my channel would be about. And one of the things that I would be doing on my channel are sew-alongs, amongst other things. And during that video, I presented 3 patterns that I wanted you guys to pick or choose from and have me do the sew-along video, because one of my first big videos is going to be a sew-along, and hopefully encourage you guys to dust off your sewing machines and get sewing again by being able to watch a step-by-step video. So I want to thank everyone who participated in voting on which pattern that I should sew up, and the winner is the very easy Vogue Joggers pattern. So I wanted to get into this pattern a little bit. I plan to sew up view A. It has the drawstring elasticated waist, and I want to do the cuffs at the ankle. So I'm looking forward to sewing this up, and I am going to go over the pattern a little bit with you and also share with you the fabric that I plan to use. Okay, so we are looking at the back of the pattern envelope. I wanted to share a little bit of information from this section that I thought would be helpful for those of you who are avid sewists. You already know what I'm about to say, but for those of you who are starting out, I'll share a little bit of information with you. One thing I wanted to point out with my hand, I feel like I'm saying stop, but it says that these pants are fitted below the waist. So when you're trying to decide what size to make, just realize that this is going to sit a little bit lower than your waist, because we consider this part right here your waist. See where your body dips in on the sides? That's your waist. But look at where these pants are sitting, probably 2 inches below the waist. So when picking your size, bear in mind whatever your dimension is for that part of your body. Okay, so the ribbon drawstring, you can use ribbon or you can use the rope or cording that is available as well, sort of like the drawstrings when you buy ready-to-wear sweatpants or hoodies. And let's see what else. Our leg bands, those will also have elastic in them, just like the waist. So that way, if you make your pants a little too big in the waist, you can always alter the length of your elastic to help draw them in a little bit more. Or if you also need to make the elastic a little bit longer so that you can have a little more breathing room. So for me, I plan on making the size small, and I plan on using fabric that is 60 inches wide. And it says here that I will need 1 1/8 yards of fabric. The contrast fabric that's mentioned here is for the cuffs down at the ankle. Right here is view A that I'm showing you. So if you want a contrast fabric, that's where you would use it, at the cuffs right there. I'm still undecided about that part. I guess we'll all find out together. Next, the type of fabrics that they're recommending are a jersey, crepe, or a lightweight gabardine. The jersey material, when I think jersey, I think t-shirt. I'm not a fabric expert, but I just think t-shirt and the jersey fabric that I have, while I don't mind using it for a t-shirt, I don't necessarily want to use it for bottoms because I feel like it's a little too thin for that use. And then crepe, I love crepe. The kimono that I shared with you guys in my first video was made out of crepe. I like crepe fabric. It's flowy, it's lightweight. However, it's also still a little chilly in my opinion right now, so I want something that's a little heavier than crepe. And then lightweight gabardine. I'm not super familiar with gabardine, but when I think of gabardine, I think of somewhat of a sooty material. So I'm not really going for that look. I want something that's a little more casual. So I'll share with you some footage of the fabric that I plan to use for this project. And right here they're mentioning the rib knits because you can use the rib knit as your contrast fabric for the cuffs at the ankle. Again, for me that's TBD right now, but we'll see what I figure out. So next let's go over some notions. So for me, making a size small, it says that I will need 2 yards of 3/8 inch ribbon. So here it is. For these 3 views, A, B, and C, 3/8 inch ribbon, 2 yards. Okay, and then the other notion that will be needed for views A and C is 1 3/4 yards of 3/8 inch elastic. Okay, so we'll be using that at the waistline. And that's what's required for a size small. So right here, it is providing a finished garment measurement, but it just says width. And it's only referring to view B and view C. So unfortunately, this section doesn't really do a whole lot for us, but I'll show you in another slide. So this is the tab that serves as the closure of the pattern envelope, and this piece is usually tucked inside of the envelope. I'm showing you this so that you can see where we try to figure out what size we're going to make and therefore how much fabric we would need to purchase to complete the project. I am going to make a size small, and the measurements for waist is stating 24 to 25 inches, and for the hips 33.5 through 34.5 inches. These are not my measurements, but I will show you on the pattern piece some additional information that helped me to determine that a size small is what I need to make, because that pattern piece shows the finished dimensions, the finished measurement. So this screen is showing a picture of the piece 1 of the pant pattern, and I am showing you this because I mentioned finished dimensions of the finished garment. And so for the size small, the hip dimensions will be 38.5 inches. And this coincides a little bit better with my real dimensions versus the dimensions that were on the envelope flap. So this is what I wanted to show you. And when you're making other garments, dresses, shirts, you'll see a finished measurement in the bodice for the shirts and the dresses. And then when it comes to pants and skirts, you'll find the hip dimensions on those bottom pieces. They don't show you all dimensions on the pattern pieces. I guess they just choose what they think would be most helpful. I am showing pattern piece number 3 so that you can see that the cutting line for view A is right here. Since we are adding the cuff, we don't need to go all the way down to the bottom of the pattern piece. This is for the other views. So we are going to cut right here. And I'm also going to measure this pattern piece from the crotch line down to the bottom of the pants to make sure that it's going to fall at the right length of my body. I don't want to sew these up and then add the cuff and then have all this gathering at my ankles, because if these pants are too long, then we can do the lengthen or shorten. Right here is a line to lengthen or shorten, and that is where that would take place if the pants are going to be too long. I would just cut this and move it up so that I can shorten this a little bit, so that when I do add the cuff, the pants aren't too long. For others, they might have to lengthen and shorten up here. Sometimes you may need to drop or raise the crotch line, depending on your measurements here. So hopefully that was helpful. So lucky us. This view of the pants only involve 6 pattern pieces. So for view A, we will need the front, the yoke, the back, the pocket, and the leg band. That's it. So when they're saying the front, they mean the front pant, the back pant. Here's our yoke. Here's the good old leg band, and there are the pockets. So this should be a pretty easy sew up. I like it. It doesn't seem overly complicated. We'll get into it more later during our sew along, but I'm getting excited here. I hope you are too. This is a picture of the cutting layout. They always recommend a layout for you to make sure you can maximize your fabric, make sure you lay your pattern pieces in such a way that you don't run out of fabric, so long as you buy the quantity of yardage that they are recommending. So for me, I'm making the small, and I will be using a 60-inch wide piece of fabric. So they're showing us the 2 pant leg pieces and the yoke piece. They're not showing us the band or the pockets, but you can fit those in anywhere. So this is more than likely the layout that I'm going to use. Sometimes I can move away from their recommendation because of the experience I have in sewing, but for those of you who are new to this wonderful hobby, just go ahead and stick with their recommendations. And as you can see, we have space in there for the band and for the pocket bags. Okay. This is the fabric that I'll be using. It's a brown and tan gingham. I like gingham, and usually we're used to gingham being in a very, very lightweight fabric, but this fabric is more of I want to say polyester. I know polyester gets a bad rap. It's a synthetic fabric. It does cause you to heat up a little bit, but I'm liking it because it's cold right now. It'll be thick enough. There's a little bit of stretch that I was telling you about. The drape is good. So I think that this is going to sit on my body pretty good. It'll have movement, flow, comfort, and warmth. So that's my selection. And I was saying before that I think I'm also going to do the cuffs in the same fabric. I don't really need it to stand out. So that's my fabric choice, guys.